Today, we're visiting with my clients Kyle and Alex to talk about their cat Ember. And they have several cats and maybe a couple of dogs will come into the scene, but today, Ember is the center of attention. So I want to talk to Kyle and Alex first about what they do with cats and how they obtain their cats.
So I think we started off as being those people that every time we acquired a pet, it was either that somebody put out a desperate, I need a home for this cat that I found on my porch or something like that on Facebook, or we go into Petco and see a animal that was up for adoption. And through renditions of this, eventually we said, hey, we kind of like doing this. And we started thinking about fostering.
Is there a particular type of cat you have a history of fostering?
Medical cats.
What's that mean?
So cats that have some type of medical injury that need continuous care, whether it's medication or cleaning or whatever.
And is there something in your background that you feel like you have a little bit of extra experience?
So whether it's good or not, I'm an emergency medicine physician, and so I think there probably are a lot of similarities, although not perfectly, exact, but like things like wound care, etc. I think. Um, and Kyle was a combat medic, so he also had a lot of history and was also worked in the ER. So we had medical backgrounds, and I think it made us a good fit for cats that needed like actual like wound care or other types of medical based care. Ember turned out to be much more than just a cat that needed an amputation of a leg, because what happened in whatever the event was, there was actually spinal cord injury. So the incontinence that she has is permanent because it's nerve related injury. But it also left her with some hip weakness. And that for her, as opposed to the other tripods, when they'd lose a leg, the other leg just compensated like it was two. So the learning curve with her has been tremendous. Um, so initially, when we got her, and she was still in the stages of what's wrong with her, what surgeries does she need, she was having diarrhea. And so we, even though we wanted to put her in a diaper, there was no way to let her be in a diaper to run around. So initially, for the first couple months, we had to come up with bigger and bigger cages so that she wouldn't be in a small cage, but she would have the freedom. And it required probably every 2 hour cage changes,
Really?
because
Yeah.
it was with the diarrhea and it was just a lot of cleanup constantly so that she wasn't in it. But then as things went forward, and when we finally got control of her medical issues, when Kyle and I became her directors of her care, we were able to get the diarrhea under control, and that changed everything for
Absolutely.
her lifestyle.
Right.
I think I recall you telling me that every once in a while you'll have a cleaning crew come in.
So we do have someone come into the house every couple weeks to do like the deep clean
Yeah.
of like the floors and the carpets and everything like
But
that.
you're the cleanup crew.
We are the
We are.
cleanup crew, right?
We are. And again, it's changed tremendously now that but no diaper is leak proof. No diaper is poop proof.
So
So
how
there's a lot of
long
cleanup.
how long has Ember lived here?
Year and a half.
Yeah, a little bit more than
More
that
than
now.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and so right now, obviously, I'm here, so we can share that there's a problem, and that's that we have been to court. I've been to court with you at least 6 times, I believe now, for hearings because the rescue would like to take Ember back, and I fully believe in both of you that you have rights to Ember, and more importantly, that no one else could do for Ember what you two do, and have the patience. And it took you a year and a half, and you're still improving your process. And that the fact that somebody wants to take that away from you, but even more important, take you away from her, is just, as a pet owner, and to watch how you interact with her, and to just know how you feel about her. That's just wrong. That is wrong, and that's why we have fought so hard in court. So tell me, I wasn't. I'm involved in this new lawsuit, which started, I think, maybe in April or so. Or I know you were involved in something last January, which you thought resolved this overall issue regarding Ember. Um, Tell us about that.
We, uh, Ember, as I said, it was a lot of learning to care for her in a way that really optimized her life. And in the beginning, that learning curve and all the things that involved with it, was uh, pretty difficult. And so we were trying to convey those issues with the rescue,
Rescue.
and we were having a hard time getting the support and getting things accomplished we thought we needed. We needed a strong care plan. We weren't getting that. We really needed to get the diarrhea under control. It wasn't happening. There were so many things, and so
But when you say
yeah,
the support, are these things that the rescue would normally be responsible for in terms of
yeah,
managing it and
yeah.
paying for it?
So we we're fortunate in that with our backgrounds, we understood certain things would help in certain situations. We were trying to convey these things with the rescue and say, hey, like the need for supplies was so great and continuous that despite me saying, hey, we're running out of things, like the response was not quick enough. So I just took over ordering and you
So we
know,
supplemented.
And when you supplemented Kyle, the rescue wasn't that happy that you kind of took over the management of Ember. Am I right?
Correct. Yes. So we would add things to make her life better or that we saw were helping her. And the rescue was very opposed to that. It didn't come from their plan, even though the plan wasn't really communicated well with us. So we weren't sure what the plan was. In their mind, it didn't fit what they thought was best for Ember. And unfortunately, since the rescue had never truly taken care of Ember, a lot of their anxiety and issues with what we were doing weren't well founded.
Has anybody from the rescue ever met Ember?
I believe one person has met Ember.
And was that at at a vet hospital?
yeah, the interactions were exceedingly limited.
Okay.
There was no exposure greater than an hour at a time on maybe 3 to 4 occasions. The rescue never took care of Ember for never more than an hour.
And you have other cats that you've rescued through this rescue
Yeah.
Yes.
and other rescues too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, this rescue is foster based, so they don't have a physical location, right?
Correct.
Okay. And this rescue is online, and they tell stories about the animals, but this was sort of an emergency. Ember never made it online to see if somebody could help them. They came to you and said, this cat needs help and we need you to jump in, and you did.
Correct.
Yeah.
So suddenly, though, you find yourself in the middle of a lawsuit.
So things get kind of crazy because we realized we weren't getting the care that we thought she needed to get past certain issues and do well. And so at one point, I created a care plan myself. We would get a phone call and it would be like, hey, I've got a cat. And like, she'd talk to us about what the cat was. And then she'd say, I need it to be either taken on Tuesday or Friday or whatever day it was. And it basically came down to Kyle and I looking at each other and saying, yes. Because we never wanted to turn down anything because it always sounded so desperate. So this was one of those cases. So she called us up and she said, hey, I can't go get them. Could you go get them? And we're like, okay, tell us where. So we went and picked them up directly. You're correct in saying that, they never really put their hands on the cat because the cat went from the people who found her into our hands.
Right.
So woman finds a cat, brings it to the vet. The vet tells the woman, hey, I know this is going to be expensive, so I know of a rescue who we can try to work this through, and maybe they could help offset some of the costs.
Correct.
But the woman is like, all I did was find the cat. It's not my cat, and I don't want to take care of the cat. Is that right?
Yeah, the woman was it was a woman and her daughter, so sweet, but that they immediately recognized that they just didn't have the financial ability to take care of. It was going to be already projected thousands and thousands of dollars.
No awareness about, this was just about the injury, no awareness about the incontinence for life
Right,
at that
right,
point.
right.
Okay. You have this relationship with this rescue. This woman who's not affiliated with the rescue, she doesn't take in cats. She and her daughter just happened to find this injured cat on their property or near their house.
Correct.
On their porch. Correct.
Okay. So did they then call a vet first, or did they call?
They went to the vet with it
With the
because
cat.
they knew
Okay.
the cat was injured.
All right.
When they went to the vet, I think the vet started to give them an idea as to what the injuries were and what the minimum amounts of costs would be incurred. And they said, as much as we'd love to keep her, that's something we can't, take care of at this time. And then the vet, knowing that there was this rescue out there that could help finance, put the two of them in touch.
Okay. At that point, is the cat staying in the hospital though?
No, the cat went back to the woman who took it in.
Cat went back home?
Correct.
With these injuries?
Yes.
Yeah.
How much time do you think went by?
I guess a few days.
See, it just seems to me that if this cat's that hurt, can we ask the vet to just do a little bit of work right now to keep her comfortable? Do you think she went home with meds or anything for pain?
I don't think.
I don't remember if she had any medications at that time. I don't remember.
So the rescue calls you and you then go pick up the cat and then what?
Bring it back here and start.
We've had it ever since.
Yeah.
When does she go for surgery?
Over the next probably 4 to 5 months, she had multiple surgeries.
Okay. But she had the first surgery while she was sort of under your roof.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And so the woman who found the cat certainly doesn't own the cat and didn't make a claim for the cat.
Correct.
The vet didn't say surrender the cat to me and I'll take care of it, as sometimes they can do. Okay. All right. And your relationship with the rescue, did they give you any paperwork to say, okay, here, this is about Ember, here's information about her, and we need you to sign something saying you understand what the relationship is between you and the rescue and Ember?
No.
No.
So the rescue never actually had an Ember for an overnight.
No.
Never.
And yet they are making a claim that this cat belongs to them.
Correct.
And they didn't even find the cat.
Correct.
The cat wasn't dropped off at their shelter because they don't have one. So the only involvement is that the vet said, hey, maybe the rescue can help. That's the only involvement. If the vet had said, hey, I have a neighbor down the street that might be able to help, then that neighbor could have just jumped in. But he went to the rescue because they maybe have a relationship or something.
Correct.
Correct.
The rescue did pay for the surgeries and the vet visits. Okay.
But what about all this, the diapers, the food, all the things that you've been going through with Ember? What role is the vet? What does the rescue have?
So the rescue, when you initially interview with the rescue, they say that they'll provide for you the things that you're going to need for the animal. But her needs were so great and timely, so we ended up just taking over because we couldn't get things quick enough and they weren't being supplied.
And the rescue, as far as you know, it's a nonprofit.
Correct.
Correct.
And did at any time the rescue say, look, this is starting to cost a lot of money, you should think about euthanizing Ember?
The rescue did not know.
No.
Did anybody tell you should think about euthanasia?
So in the beginning, I think of the vet visits, I was probably at a minimum of half of them. It's usually policy for the rescue to bring the animals to the vet, and but I was going to them because I wanted to know what was going on, and because she was so medically complex that I felt it was important to know.
There were a few times where we were asked to be the primary transport because for some reason the rescue was unable to make it to the surgery that day.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, getting back.
And after surgeries, would
Yeah.
she come back and
Yes.
to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is the role of the rescue. So a while back, you signed a contract with the rescue for a completely different cat, right?
We never
We've
signed
never
a
signed a
contract.
contract for
Ever.
any cats.
No.
So they have adopted or fostered or adopted cats to you, and are they still here?
Yes.
Okay, and
So
they've
Hey, we're talking about you.
I woke Chunkamoke up. And so, from what I understand now, I've had the benefit of going to court with you for the second trial case against you to try to get Ember back. And the rescue says, look, we don't call it adopt, we just call it a permanent foster. I mean, did you hear that testimony that the
Yes.
rescue said, yeah, so, and because they're playing with words a little bit, because MDAR, the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources, who oversees this, has some regulations. And we think that they have skirted the regulations, one of which is if you're going to foster or adopt, there has to be a written contract. And you've never had a written agreement from them.
No.
No.
Okay. How old do you think Ember is?
We think about 2 now.
Yeah.
And
2,
who
2
named
and a
her?
half.
We did.
We did.
Why?
She has such a zest for life that it was incredible. Here was this cat with this like leg that was dragging, a tail half off, and there she was purring just to be in your arms and acting like it's just another day in my life. And she was just so incredible like that. I wanted a name that was like a little fire. And she's an ember. She's about to burst into flames at any minute.
I'm just going to walk through the first. Here's what I know, that at some point the rescue, not happy with you starting to take the medical care under control and all the different supplies and routines that you're developing with Ember, even though she's thriving, they don't believe she's thriving. This is what's so frustrating, because this is the same person who says, I want to take the cat from you because I think you're going to murder the cat or kill the cat, did she once say?
Yeah.
She thought that we were going to put the cat down. Yeah, euthanize the cat.
I overstated the word, but that's the lawyer in me. But because I could see myself on the stand saying, you thought they were going to murder, but euthanize. But you've had that opportunity, and I've never heard either of you consider that as an option.
This is our little baby.
Right.
Like,
it's
this
just
is
not an option.
why no. We'll do whatever it takes. We've rearranged our entire life for this cat. And we're okay with that because she is well worth it to us.
What about vacations? Who takes care of the cat?
So we have a team. We have a little consortium of people. Most of them, if not all of them, have some type of medical background.
Okay.
So they have some knowledge on really what signs to look for if there's a serious problem going on. And they come to our house and they keep the operations going. So that way Ember doesn't really get disturbed or have to go somewhere that she might maybe not feel comfortable. They come here and they do everything for Ember for us while we're gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And how much do you pay them?
A fair amount.
No. Oh, will they? Because it's work. I mean, some people do it as as friendship, but it's work. So you really do have to bring people in for that.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's a lot. So to ask somebody to come in and do that out of the goodwill of their heart, it doesn't feel right for us to take advantage of that. So
you're the same people who said to me, "This is our baby. We don't have kids, and we'll do whatever it takes." And you are, and that's why we've been to court 6 times together. So. They sue you, they want the cat back, and you have a different attorney, you go to court, that it's now in court. So an agreement's reached, which was difficult for you.
Horrible.
And I can't imagine the emotions at that time, but you're getting pummeled by this rescue who's just, their lawyers are, I mean, she's a tough lawyer who insisted to get the cat back. So fine, it's so much back and forth going to court. So you reach an agreement, fine, we'll give you Ember back. And in exchange, they're going to give you some basically money back. They're going to refund or reimburse through a process of you sending in receipts and stuff. Essentially, they're going to call it a reimbursement?
They said that they would give us the donation tax
Donation
documents.
receipt.
I get it wrong every time,
Yeah.
but I get it wrong every time, and then you could use it. But I thought there was a point where you said it was going to be money too. No,
Mhm.
Never.
but it was
Yeah.
the value was around 2,500 for some reason. I think.
Yeah, somewhere between
That we had
2,000
spent
and
up to that point.
$4,000.
We were asking for the
somewhere in there.
50C3 receipts. So
Okay,
that way we
as
could use
anybody
it as
would.
taxes or
Right.
If you're okay, so finally the lawyers reached an agreement that you it was tough to digest, but we're fine. You want Ember back so bad, and you think you have a better plan or a better way to care for her. Fine.
So I want to say
Yeah.
something right there,
Right.
which is part of our huge reluctance, and not just reluctance, our like desire to adopt her was because we had gone through several different trial placements through the foster. So the foster arranged some trials with 3 different homes
For Ember?
for
Correct.
Ember.
Yep.
None of them lasted more than, I think, 5 days was the
Right.
longest. Everyone came back saying she's amazing and wonderful, but there is no way we can take care of her.
Okay.
So our concern was we literally are running into a thing where there isn't going to be somebody who can take her.
Right.
And our concern was that, then the foster said, well, we want her back and we have
The rescue.
place. The rescue,
Okay.
sorry. The rescue said, we have a place for her.
Okay. So now you had a little bit of comfort knowing
We thought, okay, this is heartbreaking for us because we love this cat.
We know how difficult it is to
Is to
maintain.
take care of her well. And part of our concern was like her needs are so high that it so easily could be a neglect case. And so that was our huge
Meaning
thing about
what?
getting, a cat that is incontinent and needs continuous like changes and like cage cleaning and just monitoring. Like these things
It
like
could be overwhelming.
could be overwhelming, and it's not anybody's intention to do, but like some people, the first foster
I was
she
going to say, do you
went
want to speak about the first foster?
First foster returned the cat and said to Kyle, quote, I cried the first
2 or 3 days
2 or 3
straight because
days.
she was so overwhelmed. She didn't. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to talk to the potential fosters, so we didn't have communication with them.
So you couldn't give them a heads up?
Unfortunately, not.
You couldn't tell them the type of care?
We got to meet the foster, or we got to eventually talk to that person.
Eventually.
But it was when we were setting up a coordination time to drop Ember off. So when we finally picked her up, she had mentioned, I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea it was this much work. And she said, I sat there and cried for a couple of the days because I just didn't know how to help.
What was that ride home like for you when you dropped her off? Did you both do it?
For the actual case when we gave her.
Well, no, even
No,
this
from
first
this
foster
person.
or this failed foster. Like I can't
Every
imagine handing her off and driving away.
Yeah, every time we would hand her over, most of the time with this type of arrangement, Rachel would pick her up. The foster,
The
the
rescue.
rescue would come and
Okay.
pick up, Ember and transport her. So it would be like handing the cat over to.
That's heartbreaking,
Like
right?
a package to be delivered to somebody else.
Right. And when you see her go, it's heartbreaking. And then you hear that she
And I'm putting all these things in the package box, to go with her because I'm like, and she'll need this, and then she'll need this, and then like here, like, and I know like it must be what people feel like when they're leaving their child for the first time, going on their first vacation, because they're thinking about all the things that the other person doesn't know.
And even when you came back home, probably you're thinking about all that. Oh, we didn't share this. We didn't tell that.
Correct.
And so when the rescue came to the house to pick up Ember to try to foster her to someone else, did the representative of the rescue sit with you and say, okay, tell me how you care for her and go through the whole process? Or were they interested in knowing that?
They were, but it felt only to the extent to make corrections or chastise. So it wasn't really to listen to what was going on that was best. It was more of this weird kind of conversation where we say, hey, we're doing this and that. And then the rescue would get upset and it would derail the entire conversation.
So it was a trigger for the rescue about sort of control? If you thought you had a better plan, or had developed something more because you learned about Ember in particular, instead of just a generalization, there was was it kind of a struggle for
I
power?
felt like we were challenging her authority as this rescue, that it was a personal attack on her knowledge of how to generally treat injured cats.
So, with that said, in the midst of this first lawsuit, you find out that, all right, they say they have a valid place who can take the cat,
And
even
it was
though
a team, so it wasn't just a person. They said that they had people that did this for a living. All they did was take care of this kind of injured cat, and there were multiple of them, and a lot of them had veterinarian experience.
now we know that wasn't true.
Correct.
And we know that because that information is what convinced you to say, okay, we love her, but it sounds like now they understand the care she needs after these failed fosters. So we can be comfortable with that. Who really wants to go through a nasty lawsuit, which we now know can take years? And so an agreement's reached where, fine, you can take Ember back. In exchange, at least give us the receipts that a nonprofit has, because you've essentially donated time and money, and they're going to share the receipts with you because that's something you can submit to your accountant.
Correct.
It would never cover, obviously, the amount of
No.
money you spent, much less the time and energy. And so you do that, and there's an agreement signed, and you hand Ember
Oh, it's
over.
absolutely heartbreaking.
Who do you hand Ember to?
So we made arrangements to meet in the parking lot of the vet that we were bringing our animals to, and also Ember was going to as a baseline vet.
So they didn't want you going to this vet, right? It's bringing Ember for treatment to this vet.
So a small backing up, just a little bit of pre-information. When we finally knew the moment where we could no longer work with the rescue was after I had created a care plan for Ember and said to her, hey, let's put this out to all the people who've taken care of her. Let's see what people have to add, and then maybe we can bring it to the vet. Because this was a point where she was still having diarrhea. She was still being very difficult to take care of, and we needed something to go forward with.
Okay.
She basically fired right back with all her negatives about the care plan. And basically then told us that we are not to talk to the vets ourselves, that she was going to be the person to communicate solely with them, and that we were not to talk about her when we went to our vets, who is her vet. And so Kyle and I looked at each other and we're like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody knows the detail of what's going on with this cat like we do. We're taking care of her every day. So why wouldn't we want to talk to the vets ourselves? So that was the end of that.
So we met at the animal hospital.
We met at the animal hospital, and another foster who went with us handed it to her.
Now we're all talking about Ember, which is just the sweetest part of it, because her voice needs to be heard, and you are her voice. And so then, fine, they have Ember now.
Yeah.
And this is January of 25.
Correct.
I believe just around New Year's, maybe a few days after.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
So we get a call.
The best call of the year.
So we get a phone call saying it was our previous attorney was asking us if the rescue's attorney could contact us directly. So we said yes. Our attorney said, go ahead and listen to what she has to say. So we said yes.
What's going through your mind? Why she wants to talk to you?
I was hoping that the cat needed placement, that Ember needed somewhere to go. I wasn't sure, but we were kind of hoping. There's not really a good reason for that attorney to call us directly. So we were like, let's hope she's calling us for not another lawsuit, but for you can have Ember back. So
are you both making the call or telling her to call you?
It's on speaker.
Okay.
It's on speaker.
Right.
So we call her, this other attorney. This attorney tells us that she's currently in possession of Ember because the rescue had made up or lied about all of the people that they said was on the care team that could take her.
This is her counsel from the trial telling you this?
Counsel from the trial.
Opposing counsel from that trial called us and said she gave me the cat. I told her I can't take this cat. I have other obligations, and I guess at that point that attorney had called the state about who needs what the rules are. She called us back, and the attorney said, "Come grab Ember if you like her." So
What a sweet.
I left work that moment, and I drove in and I grabbed Ember.
And since that time, January of 25, you've had Ember the whole time.
Correct. Right.
Correct.
So you won. It was realized that the best place for Ember is with both of you, and your attorney was pleased with that.
Yeah. Our attorney at the time said, "Take her, take her back. Like, if you want her, do you want her?" And we're like, "Of course we want her."
Wow, what a great day that must have been.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, we were so happy.
And over this last year, Kyle, what kind of bond have you formed with her? I know the bond's forming with dogs, and that it's pretty easy to express it. I grew up with cats. I'm sure I could express it if I thought back. But what is your bond with Ember like?
So it's this very interesting where she's an independent cat, but loves to be with us. So the more time that I spend with her, the more you get to learn the little looks, the idiosyncrasies. You kind of see when she has a dirty cage and needs it cleaned, she'll kind of look at you. So you start to get all these little pieces of her personality. And as you're going through, you realize during the day, I'll stop what I'm doing because I haven't seen her play with Ember in an hour or two. So it's just this permeating thought that's always in my mind of this is now not only is it my friend, but you can tell she's truly looking for the emotional support. She's looking for some type of outlet. She probably recognizes she's a little stinky sometimes. So she has this wonderful way to kind of work your way into your heart. And, for me especially, I feel like that's probably one of the few animals that I truly have to care for and that loves me back for those reasons, as well as just she's a good cat.
You've got this sense of duty too. We've taken her on, and she's energetic. She plays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God,
so loves to play. Yeah. She just plays on her own. She plays with us. She plays with the other cats. She's very lively.
Alex, what do you have a different relationship with Ember than Kyle has? So we each can form our own relationship and language almost with the pet. So what's yours like?
So I'm definitely her little safe snuggle place. So if she's running around the house in her diaper, the first place she used to stay was in the bathroom when she came to us for the very first few days, because we didn't have a big enough cage for her. So we just blocked off the whole bathroom and set that up for her. So she still thinks that's kind of like her place. So if I walk into the bathroom and she's out, she'll hear my footsteps and she'll run in because she wants me to sit on the floor so she can come lay in my lap for snuggles.
Yeah, it's very cute.
And she purrs and just falls asleep too.
Yeah, she'll fall asleep. And then she also has a particular meow that she makes when we come home. And it's always can you come say hello to me? And it's her little specific greeting. It's a very different little meow than any other meows. But she has all these different meows, and she definitely, Kyle's much better with getting her into her diaper and getting her set free. And he has a routine with her where he opens the cage up and she takes off downstairs to her favorite place. But with me, she's a lot of her cues for me are snuggle me or pet me or hang out with me. She does that.
And considering the cats and the animals here, it's super quiet and calm. You notice that right when you come in the house. So everything's going good. And then I think I end up getting a call around April, I feel of 25. Why did I get a call? I still can't believe I got a phone call.
So we were served with notice that we were being sued again for Ember for the exact same reasons.
But this time, the lawyer for the former lawyer now for the rescue was actually being sued as well.
With us.
So that lawyer is a defendant with both of you.
Yes.
And so you come to me and explain this story. And
So crazy.
and I mean, we get a lot of phone calls, so I really have to sit there and digest it and understand it. And this one just had so many moving parts to it, especially for me to understand. And fortunately, I have this understanding now. I didn't have it before I had this firm, and 10 years in, I get it. But you needed somebody to be like, okay, I'm not even going to question why you want to do this, because I think I told you I was talking to my folks last night, and this is the difference between being in your early 80s and being your age and our age, is that um, they said they had two questions. Why would the rescue want this cat back, especially if they don't have a place to put her?
Right.
And then why would these people want to keep the cat? It sounds like it's not fun, and it sounds like there's so many other things to do in life and so many other responsibilities. Why would you want to put this energy and money into a cat and who is going to live for another 15 to 20 years?
Right.
So how do you, I can't explain, and I don't think you can either, why the rescue would still want to fight you, because we think of rescues as, let's place the animal, we know it's got a good home, and you've clearly showed, because we've had to prove that Ember is healthy and is in a great home. So this isn't about trying to figure them out,
Right.
but help us understand. I super respect it. I mean, we all do. Anybody who's watching this is a pet lover. So
I think it's two-pronged for me. I think one, it's wrapped up in it's the right thing to do. I love her, of course, but it's also the right thing to do for Ember. She doesn't have a voice, so I feel like if there's not a safe place for her to go, she's crossed my path. I'm now involved. It feels it's the right decision in my character to do the best I can to protect her. And that kind of segues into when you're protecting her, sometimes you're doing that, because somebody else is being a bully or somebody else is out in the community causing problems. And as most people know, lawsuits are not the cheapest thing. So we have a little bit of this, a great word was duty, to try to figure out what's really going on and let the courts decide, and hopefully we can put an end to some of the bullying that might go on to other people who aren't in a position to step in just because of life. Some people are just too busy. So maybe we can kind of be a little blockade here and keep that rescue from constantly just harassing their fosters.
That's what motivates me too. Here are two people that can speak up, and you're still being bullied. And it makes me worry about all the people that don't have the means or the understanding, or frankly, it's not like everybody knows there's resources of pet lawyers. So
Right.
I think you're doing this for Ember, but we're speaking out about it really for all the people who have or could be bullied by a rescue when you wouldn't expect it coming from them. No one would believe that this is happening, and they're putting in this kind of time and money, and they're taking away from your care for Ember. They're taking you away from your house when you have to be in court. So we've been in court 6 times because they wanted to file an action to return Ember to them right away.
Mm-hmm.
But then their second lawyer, first in the second case, decided that he would make this into almost a mini trial. And so we've had to keep going back to court. Finally, we've had a very patient judge who ruled in our favor, that they haven't proven that they haven't proven a right to ownership yet. And they also haven't proven that they're suffering what they would have to show is irreparable harm. I mean, the woman was on the stand, and I said, tell me, you wrote in here that you're suffering irreparable harm. Have you ever met Ember? Just for a few minutes. Do you miss her companionship? No, she's not a pet. She's not my companion. So what is it? I mean, she's not losing out on money because you have Ember. What is motivating these people? And this is why MDAR, who oversees these places, has to know about this. And that's really on me to make sure that they know, because what happened to putting the animal right out front?
Right.
And so tell me about you were part of the phone call to me. I mean, You never once said or thought like, you know what, fine, you're going to fight this hard.
I think when we initially were told we have to return her, we'd already gone through enough issues with the rescue to recognize that although a place might start out to do the right thing, sometimes they may lose their path. And what they end up doing is harm. And in this case, I had witnessed myself harm occurring to multiple different people that had touched this rescue, who did not have the means or the energy or the ability to bring forward further complaints or issues. So I think Kyle and I looked at each other at that point and said, at some point you have to put your foot down on issues that you might be the only one to speak out on. And I felt like this was that time. Everybody else, like, it's a pet, okay, just let him go. Or we don't have the money to go to court, so just let him go. And it breaks your heart, but it's people are faced with these difficult decisions and they can't. But we could. And we're like, it's got to stop somewhere. And somebody's got to champion this cause. And we said, okay, we're all in. And at that point, I think we just said, we're in it.
And this is what makes my job so fun, and I get too much credit. This is your case. It's about how you wanted to move forward. I'm just guiding you through it. I've only given you a chance to be in the arena, but it's your story, and that's the courageousness of you guys. That's the clients from 10 years ago made it better for the clients from 9 years ago, and you're going to make it better for clients in the future. So right now we're in a position where we've won the initial hearing, so she's not leaving you now. And now the other side is not relenting. No. I think I told you they responded to our discovery request for information. They sent a couple 100 pages in there. And this really is not about Ember anymore for this court case. It's about the people. And because they're saying bad things about you, we're showing that they were never the owner, they never touched it, and they're trying to claim ownership of this cat. First, I don't know, we can research the definition of ownership, and it comes in many different forms, but you can accrue ownership rights by taking responsibility, by understanding what the cat needs. I mean, this is not just a pet cat that is interchangeable. So I just am amazed at your willpower, and I'm amazed that we have a judge who's just so patient here. And I'm also amazed that we're now going into almost soon it'll be a full year of this trial, and that the rescue just won't relent. And I wish I could feel about them how I feel about you. Like, okay, they're doing this because they love animals? No. They're doing this because they really know the cat well and love it? No. They're doing this because they have an even better owner or person to whom to place it? No. So that's not right. It's unfair what's happening to you two, but we are still in for the fight.
We talk about this also as probably this case is not going to be the end for us in terms of what we see as our duty.
I think support and understanding a way that people should go and really research the rescue. I think that's one of the biggest things. If we can't change policy right now, we can hopefully show some exposure to this. We've been approached by other people that don't have foster agreements or some of the more legal technical things that we've now learned. I would love for people to know that these are serious situations. Court is a serious place. And if you're not reading into and really protecting yourself, these rescues can put you in a bind.
I think it's just heartbreaking when you recognize that people can start in such a good position and go into a field and be like, I'm going to save animals. I'm going to do I'm going to get cats into great situations and into homes where they're loved, and then something happens over time. Either it's a combination of experience or ego fed by, other things, or maybe it's underlying mental health issues, or I don't know. But something happens to a small percentage of people where they develop like a savior complex, where they feel that everything they're doing, it warrants the end result. It doesn't matter that I'm ripping a cat out of a perfectly good home. I know better. That cat shouldn't be there. It doesn't matter. You can show me all the evidence you want, how great a home it is, but I know better. It's not a good home. And I think that, like, when things like this happen, there's, what's the mechanism to keep people in control? Like, to make sure that it's being done correctly, and right now it's going to court. Is that really the best way to do this?